get their act together. Since then, the EU hasn't gotten their act together, and they've asked China and India and Brazil for help, and they've been turned down as of today. That could change. So, what do we have right now? We have ourselves an inside day, and that usually means change. The market's getting ready to move again. The FOMC notes and minutes said that the economy continued to soften. We saw that in the ADP jobs today. We lost 4,000 manufacturing jobs, 8,000 assembly, and we gained 100. Or we lost 4,000 manufacturing jobs and we gained 114,000 service jobs, giving us a total of 110,000 jobs. So you can still make the economic softness argument, but some news comes in a little better than forecast, some doesn't. Tomorrow's news: jobless claims, 401k greater than 410 will hurt the E-mini, help the note, less than 390, vice versa. Preliminary production plus 2 point productivity gains plus 2.8%. Unit labor costs down 1.1%. That would fit with the unemployment picture. Factory orders off 0.2%. ISM services 53.8. So that's the news, and the focus will be jobless claims, and then factory orders and ISM services. So we'll pick it up off of that. So we have an inside day right now. That would suggest a trading range or a new move tomorrow. So here we are. Motoring sideways today. The market is looking for a new piece of news. And what might that be? Probably out of the EU. Okay, this is day session only on the E-mini. It gives you a little different picture. And you can see on this screen that there's a pretty clean break in that 12.4250 to 45.50 area. And volume-wise, we're looking at a D on this take on the day session, and leaning P if you count the TPOs where they are. And that probably can't change this late in the day. If in period comes down and can't break 28.50, we might move the point of control into the middle. But 42.50 to 45.50 based on the day session is an area that the chartists would like to see filled. So a structural sell will be 44.75 to 45.25 off of that information. And if we fail to get through our 42.50, then the seller is still in control. So we have a D looking for a new move out of this. Looking at the volume, looking at the TPOs, it's a D leaning P. You're welcome, Tom. I do think that paying attention to the letters, especially 2 consecutive periods where the high and the low are equal, ENF period, etc., makes some sense. And then I track the last hour before the day session closes, highs and low, and then in the note, the last hour before the day session closes and the hour after the day session closes for support and resistance points. So when you go to TradeStation or these others, and Market Delta even has accommodated TradeStation players by giving you little squares or blocks or X's for the profile, and TradeStation did it so they wouldn't have to pay the CBOT royalties. Market Delta does it. Their business model is all things to every player, and so any study that you can find or dream up, you'll find. Our approach to the market is this stuff works. Forget about the rest of it, etc. So our philosophy and approach to the market is a little bit different. Okay, we had a double bottom. That green dot on this contract is significant. It's there all the time in the note, in the bond, but on this one, when you see it, pay attention. And what do I mean by this green dot? It means it is a retest to the tick right here. And we come out and we get a retest of the low. You can enter the market long in this 25 area. This morning we had a buy recommendation at 20.50 to 22.50. Produced a couple of good trades if you were nimble. You could have gotten long in the 24 area right here. Michael Ramos took that trade twice. The next long trade would be in the 25 to 27 area, and the market so far has traded back up almost to the value area high. The chart gaps up above would tell me that the chartist won't get in the way if this thing does rally up to 45.50. Okay, here's your peak selling. And again, my point in bringing this up is that the 50 lot player will sell into strength or buy into weakness at least once, usually only once. And then when you break it out, we start to trade higher right here. You can see that they begin to cover their shorts. And you can see right here that the activity goes to the buy side in your pane number 2. So it's this known behavior of the market's participants that help us get into trades with superior location, then track our trades, and make some pretty good assessments as to how good or how bad they can be early in the session. Okay, like I said, I didn't see anything had changed in the Fed. Perhaps a little bit weaker economy. I think their projections for growth 2012 and 2013 are a bit optimistic from what I see and what's going on in Europe. But we'll find out. We have not gone into a recession yet. The ECRI, which is the authority, or where everybody goes to see if we're in a recession or not, has said we're headed for a recession and there's nothing we can do about it. And we'll just have to see if that happens. I think you and I could make that statement in general terms, and we'd eventually be right too. So, and I'm not. They put a little bit more weight and authority with it than we would, but they see some deterioration behind the scenes. Goldman Sachs lead economists see some real deterioration behind the scenes in underlying economic strength. So, but the Fed says we've got slow growth coming, and we'll see who wins that argument. Okay, we have an inside day here. Volume is higher than the preceding day. We got volume here, and then right there. We're inside that high. What does it take to go higher? We've always said help from the EU or the ES. So the selling tempo has to greatly increase from where it is now in the E-mini, and the EU sovereign debt crisis not able to patch or kludge together some kind of a deal that's palatable. People are used to the EU as it is. You still see polls taken over there where 70% of the population wants it to stay the same, and obviously France and the pig nations would lean that way. Those that are paying for it are probably in that 30%, that minority, and I just don't see without currency devaluation, and if they do hold it together, the euro currency is going to come down. How they can hold it together, and you have people that not too long ago, 60, 70 years ago, that were at each other's throats, and we've seen what has happened in Yugoslavia when they get mad at each other, and Europe couldn't stop that. The U.S. had to come in, So it's not an easy problem to get through here. So what happens in January with the Greek vote? Do they tear up all their debt and go it alone, which would be kind of scary because they've been living pretty large the other way, or do they take some austerity and keep half a credit card in case they're really stuck? You could make a pretty strong argument for them staying in or leaving the EU. But no matter what, the economies are slowing down in Europe. They'll slow down because of increased taxes in Northern Europe, and they're slowing down because of imposed austerity and the inability to borrow money to pay for their lifestyle in the southern part. Okay, if we look at all this, we put it all together, we are looking at a P. So it's a P. Looking at today, it's a P. Looking at where volume is compared to the overnight session today, volume is higher. So everything in this is pointing to higher prices tomorrow or a retest of today's highs. It is an inside day. And when we had a strong move up yesterday, you would expect a pause day, and that's what we got. So we're set here. We are pointed higher for sure. And if the E-mini is sideways to lower, we'll probably trade higher tomorrow. Tomorrow's news, jobless claims greater than 410 helps us. I don't think anybody's going to look at preliminary productivity, but the higher that number, the better it is for the economy. Unit labor costs minus 1.1%. If it comes in a bigger negative number, like minus 1.3, 1.5, that would be supportive for this market. That would say economy slowing down, people have less money to spend. Factory orders at minus 0.2 comes in minus 0.4, minus 0.5. It would support this market, not the E-mini. Show the economy slowing down. ISM services at 53.8 comes in less than 53.3. Would support this market. Comes in greater than 54. Would not. So we do have news tomorrow that can move the market. The jobless claims will be the first one to get through. Factory orders and ISM services the second. All with an eye on what comes out. I think the G20 meeting starts tomorrow, and probably in some lavish place. I'm guessing it's Cannes or Cannes, and these government folks live pretty large when you think about it. They won't be staying in youth hostels either when they get over there. And I think Obama is scheduled to drop in and tell the EU they got to pay for Italian and Spanish debt. We'll see how that goes over. Probably not too well. But if they want to solve the problem, that is what they have to do. Okay, where might resistance lie? I had us closing at 10, 9.5 or 10 right here. So we've got a high of 13.5, and we've got a high of 16 and a high of 18. So if we closed at 10, you'd have 12.14, 16 to 20, excuse me, 18. See how sticky this gets. 20. I'll make it 24. And then 28 to the buck. This morning we wanted to buy 25s to 29s, the low is 26.5. We did trade up to 130.09, then we set back to 02, and then we traded up to 130.13.5, and I don't think we've been below. Looks like really haven't been below 8 or 9 since then. So today our research was spot on. We had the buy and we had the levels correct on this one. Our sell orders worked fine on the E-mini. We caught those trades early. Didn't get a good buy. Didn't have that until late when we got this afternoon. Got down to 20. 1220, 1222, and you got a good buy out of that, and the market's currently trading 1235. Now, that buy recommendation represents a lot of how we cause problems for ourselves in the market. Charlie wants to buy 20s to 22s. God, it's 28 or so. And we get in the market at wrong levels and with the wrong idea. And then only to see us get that trade later in the day. And so you do miss trades, that is for sure, no doubt about it. But if you're really patient, the work that you've done the preceding day or when you've stopped and thought about the market, if you're really, really patient, you'll usually have a chance to execute in those areas the next day. It may be in the afternoon before you get there, but you can get there. Okay, we closed at 10. We've got a K period low at 7. Got a J period low at 6. The H period low goes down to 1. The A period low at 30. And there's 26.5. So we close at 10. 6 to 8. 2 to 4. 30 to the buck. And then 24 to 28. The note's not paying a lot of attention at all to what's going on in the E-mini this afternoon. Pretty interesting, because the move from 22, 23 back up to 35, 12 handles normally would impact this contract, but they're not paying a lot of attention to it. So with the ES sideways to lower, be buying 30.01 to 05 or 29.25 to 29 once again. And with the E-mini, now you got to give yourself a little room. Higher, we can sell 7 to 11. And why not 15 to 19? Well, if the E-mini's higher, we're probably not going to be able to sell at 15s to 19s. If the E-mini is sideways, then you got a shot at your 15 to 19s. But we would be making new highs right there. So that trade in and of itself is suspect. Okay, we have a teaching session tomorrow. We have no questions. Put your questions to me, John Bottomley, or Scott, and we'll figure out what we want to talk about tomorrow and pick it up from there. Y'all have a great evening. They got highs called below 50 tomorrow from us, so the Denver weather is starting to move in. And we won't get near the moisture that they got, though. And we probably needed a little more than they do. But the eastern plains of Colorado are getting great moisture for their winter wheat crops. So while we're suffering in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, Colorado, western Nebraska, and those parts of the winter wheat production world are doing right. 8 inches in Denver. That's pretty cool. Send some of it our way, Tom. Y'all have a great evening. See you in the morning.